What is going on, guys? Luke here today, and I believe we all know what happens on November 3rd. But regardless of who you think is going to win, you need to be prepared either way. Which stocks to buy and which stocks to avoid are very different depending upon who wins. Which, pretty much fits perfectly with the diametrically opposed political views of each candidate. So if you want to know which stocks to buy and which stocks to avoid in the event of a Trump win, or a Biden win so you can make big money no matter what, then this video is for you. So let's get started in my fancy jacket right now. Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we will uncover the two very different answers to the question of which stocks to buy and which stocks to avoid for both candidates. They couldn't be any more opposite from each other. But as a bonus, I'll also give you some general facts around election investing and a simple 3-step plan of action to ensure you have the right strategy to profit huge off this election no matter what happens and no matter who wins. I'll even tell you my personal strategy, so you do not want to miss this information. There is a ton of value and actionable content in this video, so please like the video because it really helps the channel. And subscribe, if you like to have fun and make money, which, should be everyone regardless of which party you support. I mean, seriously, look at me. I have my shades on in the dark and I'm wearing a jacket with a t-shirt. It doesn't get much more fun than that. Okay, maybe that's not fun for everyone. I apologize. Now let's dive into this. Now, before we even start, let me preface this with exactly where I stand on all this so we are very clear on where this conversation is going. I hate politics. I am not a supporter of the Red Party or the Blue Party. I support the Green Party only. This is a wealth building channel. And click up here somewhere if you want more information on the specifics about my views on politics, and if you're invested in Tesla and want to know how the election will affect Tesla specifically. It's all covered in that video. But enough of that stuff, let's get back to the stocks. So let's go over a Biden victory. Trump is the incumbent, so like in a championship boxing match, the challenger comes out first. And if you don't have a broker you use to buy stocks, make sure you check out the link down in the description. You actually get 3 free stocks through the end of October if you just deposit $100 and open up a new account. So that's 3 free stocks for doing nothing except for dropping $100 in there, and you don't even have to invest that $100. You can wait till everything clears out and then pull everything out if you want to. So if you like free money, sign up for Webull. So if Biden wins, there will be a number of huge winners with the swinging parties in the White House. There will also be some major losers as well, but let's cover the winners first because the winners are much more fun to cover. So the first winner to a Biden presidency would be green companies or, green type stocks. Now I agree completely before you guys even start blasting me down in the comments. I think companies like Tesla will be a winner regardless of who wins. But the smaller companies trying to expand would get a huge boost with the green policies that could be put in place with a Biden win. And if there's a Democratic sweep, well, look out. That could be a boon for all those stocks and could expand into all the various green energy industries as lots of legislation would change to incentivize businesses and consumers to go more green. So specifically, I would be looking at stocks like NextEra Energy Company, Hyliion and Workhorse, two of the favorites of the EV crowd, and First Solar, just to name a few. And kind of like the tech boom in the late 90s, you could see an extremely bullish run with any stock from that sector as investors will pour money into it. So another big winner in my mind would be Chinese stocks. Now remember, I am strictly viewing this from an investing perspective, not a geopolitical or any of the other political talking points around Chinese companies. What I do know is the US relationship with China has been, kind of rocky to say the least, but Biden would not be as adversarial towards China as Trump has been. From an investing standpoint, that bodes well for Chinese companies. Examples would include Alibaba, JD.com, and NIO. And check out my super cool video about NIO, right up there again. And yeah, you're right, I'm probably a little biased, but I promise it's really cool. Look for the strong Chinese players to really bust out with the threat of a trade war and other rhetoric being toned down considerably with a Biden presidency. So the last big winner I will cover would be anything dealing with US's infrastructure. Look, Biden has already laid out an agenda to do some massive infrastructure upgrading if he gets elected. That stands to benefit companies like Caterpillar, Granite Construction, and Martin Marietta Materials, just to name a few. Especially if relations with China ease, it could be a monster boost to Caterpillar's bottom line since the recent trade wars and tariffs have really hurt their bottom line. Now we cannot give the winners without giving the losers of a Biden presidency. And the first big loser would be the oil companies and really all stocks associated with that industry. Unfortunately, with green policies being enacted, it would hurt the oil industry moving forward as the US moves towards renewable sources of energy and away from fossil fuels. Now I understand the world has been moving away from them for some time now, but a Biden presidency and a Democratic sweep would really absolutely accelerate the transition. I'm not even sure that was a real sentence that I can use, but I think you guys know what I meant. Companies to avoid would be ExxonMobil, Chevron, and honestly anything dealing directly with those companies and are involved in those industries. And the second type of stocks that would lose if Biden is elected would be travel industry type stocks. So there is the possibility that we do go back into some form of lockdown to try and stem the tide of the illness if Biden is elected. And like we saw in the spring, the travel industry basically ground to a halt and they still are not anywhere near where they were pre-illness. And if I'm being honest, I'm not sure this industry will ever come back as strong as they were before the first lockdown ushered in the era of online meetings and all the other virtual offerings that are out there now. I know I personally have clients who were not comfortable with it before, but now are quite comfortable as the cost savings has been immense for them. And basically because they were forced to do it, now that they're forced to do it, they're just comfortable with it. And with companies needing to shore up balance sheets, coupled with the experience even before the illness of everything sucking when you go to the airport and get on planes themselves, even if you're first class, it still sucks. And I think it has created an environment where people will stick to necessary travel only and will be much more judicious with travel in the future. Some stocks to avoid in my opinion would be all the airlines, which if I'm honest, I've never liked them anyways, to cruise stocks like Royal Caribbean and Carnival, to stocks like Expedia if I could speak, and others who do online bookings. Now let's take a look at what a Trump victory will look like, and let's start out with the stocks that will be huge winners from Trump's second term in office. The first would be the banking industry and bank stocks. Look, he will continue to deregulate and roll back restrictions imposed after the financial crisis, and that will be a boon for the banks. This will allow them to increase their profits and expand their product lines and get into riskier investments that they are currently not allowed to move into. I see JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and maybe Goldman Sachs, if they can get some of their past mojo back, being the biggest benefactors of these rollback regulations. So the next industry is actually a little bit of an out-of-the-box pick here, and that would be social media companies. Hey, don't look at me. There has never been a president who uses social media more and creates more of a story on social media than Trump. Now, I'm not here to debate right or wrong or anything else like that. And personally, I'm actually not a fan of social media at all, although I'm trying to dip my toes into Instagram a little bit, so please follow me there. But from a stock standpoint, I cannot imagine people being on Twitter or Facebook more if Biden is elected versus Trump. Trump has been a catalyst for those companies and will continue to be if he is reelected. Add in the talk of Democrats wanting to break up big tech altogether and further restrict them, a Trump win should ensure their continued march forward and upwards. So obviously the companies that benefit from that directly would be the ones we just mentioned, Twitter and Facebook specifically. And perhaps the most stark contrast from Biden if Trump wins would be the oil industry. President Trump has already pledged to help them out of the current hole that they are in due to the whole global drop in demand due to the illness and all the other various shutdowns that have gone on. The oil companies have had a really tough time since all this happened. He has also and will continue to roll back EPA regulations and rules which will allow the oil companies to, slash more of their expenses and lower their cost to actually produce the oil. So pretty much the same losers under Biden would be big winners under Trump. ExxonMobil, Chevron, and all the likes like that. Now with a Trump victory, it will also bring some losers as well. The first and most glaring would be Chinese stocks. So again, we're talking the polar opposite from Biden. Trump has an icy relationship with China already, and a second term could ramp up the rhetoric between the two countries even more. He has threatened to delist Chinese companies in the past, and although I don't think that will pass in actual legislation, it will heavily weigh on those stocks that could get delisted. So the Chinese stocks would pretty much be the same that would suffer. That'd be Alibaba, NIO, and JD.com. I also believe the green energy sector, but specifically solar, would be another loser from this election cycle if Trump is reelected. Further deregulation of the energy sector, along with tariffs coming in from China and financial incentives not being there to push people to solar, would really hurt these companies. Some names of companies that may struggle under a continued Trump presidency include NextEra Energy, who we talked about, First Solar, as mentioned as a winner earlier, along with Canadian Solar as well, could really struggle. But here's the best part. Here are some election investing facts to help you build a plan of action and a strategy to make huge money. And we'll cover all that in just a minute, but we have to build out our foundation and framework first. So let's cover some basic facts about stocks and who's in office. So the first thing you need to keep in mind is that we will see the market be very volatile over the next few months, and regardless of who is elected, I expect the market to trend sideways or down for the next few months. Now the only caveat I'll give to that is that if there is another stimulus deal, it may help. And I think we will actually see more than one regardless of who wins. But barring a massive deal, the market will trade down or sideways in this illness economy for now. But even if we aren't in this illness environment, historically, stocks still trade down or sideways immediately after elections, regardless of who's elected, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter who wins. Here, and I'll give you the charts to prove it. So let's take a look at the return of the S&P 500 1 month after a president takes office. Here it is right here. The data clearly shows 1 month after a person takes office, there isn't really a huge surge up. Actually, 5 of the last 8 presidents started their presidency down. This speaks clearly to the volatility around any election, much less one as contentious as this one. Wall Street hates uncertainty. Okay, so let's take a look 6 months out. And we finally have some real breakouts. But look at that chart closely. What is the one theme you see right there? And it's super interesting if you're paying attention. It alternates between Republican and Democrat for this S&P 500 return all the way down. That is simply amazing. It's Obama, then Bush #1, then Carter, then Trump, and so on. I mean, it's amazing that it's split like that. There is no clear winner here based on political party. It just kind of alternates. This is absolutely not what you will hear on the TV regardless of which channel you watch, which is actually exactly why I don't watch any TV and I just do my own research using raw data. You know, you typically get a truthful answer then. It's amazing. Okay, so you still aren't convinced and you want to go big picture here for the whole term? Look at the entire term of a president? Well, check out this chart right here. Red guys or blue guys, it doesn't matter. The stock market just goes up. And this chart completely proves it. After Hoover, you tell me which party definitively tanks the stock market and which one definitively raises the stock market. The answer is neither party tanked it, and neither party has raised it significantly more than the other. So what does all this mean to you as an investor? It means that Wall Street and investors get rich regardless of who is in office. So you need to put your political feelings aside and be ready to make some money regardless of who wins, because there will be money there to be made. So let me give you a simple plan of action to ensure you have the right strategy to profit huge off this election, no matter who is elected. Now remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not listen to me. As we have discussed many times on this channel, if you do not have a plan for every scenario, you will trade on emotions and that will absolutely destroy your investments. Having a plan means you are ready for every scenario, and every scenario is a win-win for you. But you cannot do that without a plan, and yes, shameless plug here, that is why such a huge portion of my course is about planning and goal setting for all of your stocks. But here's a simple 3-step process to get you started right now today, and I will also tell you my personal strategy to profit from this election. So the first step in the process is to understand your portfolio and get it right. What does that mean, you may ask? The easiest way to describe it is to tell you exactly what I did. I simply looked at every single stock I owned and I determined if I was long all these stocks in the first place, and then am I willing to own each of these stocks despite any volatility or if there was a significant downturn. Then, if the answer was no to either one of those questions for the stock, the next question to ask is right now the time to exit the position. Now, I personally had 2 stocks that had no answers to the first question and yes to the second question. I don't know why I held up one finger, I'm sorry. Just no on the first question, yes on the second question for 2 stocks. There you go. Those stocks were Hyliion, which I bought for $26 and sold it right around $50 or so per share. and Carnival, which I originally bought for $12 per share and sold earlier at around $19 per share or so, and I still had some left which I sold at $14 per share recently. All the rest of the stocks in my portfolio are ride or die type stocks. I also made sure my cash position was strong to take advantage of opportunities as they come. A good cash position for anyone is anywhere between 10 to 30% of your portfolio being held in cash. Unfortunately, mine is a little too strong at the moment, but I am also looking at real estate as well, and that requires a bigger capital outlay for the niche that I'm in. So I carry more cash than I typically should sometimes. The second step would be for you to decide which stocks you are targeting. So pretty simple here. I have a list of stocks that I'm personally targeting based on who wins the election and some other stocks that I think will do well regardless of who wins that I will look into buy as well. I also have a price target that I am looking to buy each stock at, so when it hits that price, I can start a position and increase as needed or as desired. So pretty simple stuff there. Know the stocks you want to buy and know the price you want to buy them at. And the third step would be get your mindset right and understand what is going on beyond the politics and all this other stuff. I think there are some big opportunities coming to add shares if you have the right mindset and the right plan, and probably a lot of stomach medicine nearby too. This has nothing to do with who is president, and it has much more to do about the economy and the illness and potential or not potential stimulus. There will be a lot of volatility in the coming weeks and months, and probably I wouldn't be surprised if it goes all the way through the next year. So your mindset has to be set on a minimum timeline of a year from now, maybe even longer. But with all that volatility comes great opportunity, and that is what has me so freaking excited. Sure, my bets may not pay off right away. I'm not going to 10x my money in a month like everybody seems to be doing right now on Wall Street Bets and in all the chat rooms. But not making money right off the bat is all part of investing. So my personal mindset is, I am buying now for a payoff 3 to 5 years from now. And I know in the short term, I could lose money. And if I don't, well, that's awesome and that's great, but I'm just prepared if that happens because I'm looking way out in the future. I'm not interested in guessing the tops or the bottoms of the market. That's called market timing, and no one can successfully do that. Only people that can do it are the chat room millionaires and the guy in all those ads with a stack of cash claiming he can do it too. But other than those people, it cannot accurately be done over the long term. So that is my mindset right there. In the end, over the long run, staying out of the market is a bad idea. As the charts I showed earlier proved, it doesn't matter who is elected, stocks will go up. Strategically investing in great stocks always pays off over the long run. You just have to identify the right mix of stocks for your goals and your plan in your life. So thanks for watching, and if you want to work directly with me, check out the first link down in the description, and I will show you how to create a plan, set defined goals, how to analyze a stock, and build real wealth. And don't forget to sign up for Webull so you can get your 2 or 3 free stocks if you just deposit $100. You don't even have to invest $100. You can pull it all out once everything's cleared. And show your support for the channel by liking the video, which I really appreciate, and follow me on all my social media so you can watch me epically fail at all of those. Thanks.